Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dylan, and welcome to Dylan the Truth podcast. If you guys are new to this channel, subscribe to this channel and also hit the like button. Deeply appreciate it. Um, I'm here to talk about the World Cup. Um, I'm really excited for this. As everyone knows, World Cup always comes on every 4 years, and it's going to be held in Qatar, and this should be a really exciting year. I can't wait for it to start. It starts November the 20th, which is the first matchup is obviously the host Qatar versus Ecuador. Um, I can't really predict who's going to win that game because I don't know how those two fare off. It's like a toss up, so it could go either way. But obviously there's a couple teams that I'm rooting for. Obviously Canada, and the next team that I believe is gonna win it all is Brazil. Those are my two teams that I'm rooting for. This is like a global game, so everybody's gonna get really excited about it. It's a beautiful thing. Like you get to see different cultures. Everybody's rooting for their country. Like this is what it's all about, and it's very exciting. I can't wait for it to start. Um, I'm gonna give my bold predictions. Like I'm gonna go through the top 15 countries in the World Cup this year, and then I'm gonna break. Well, there's the groups as well. I'm gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna, you know, basically tell you guys who I feel is gonna come out of each group. So I'm gonna read off like who's the top 15 teams heading into the World Cup. So obviously number one, my team Brazil. Number two, Belgium. Number three, Argentina. Number four, France. Number five, England. Number seven, well, I don't know who's six, but number seven is Spain. Number eight is Netherlands. Number nine is Portugal. Number 10 is Denmark. Number 11 is Germany. Number 12 is Croatia. Number 13 is Mexico. Number 14 is Uruguay. And number 15 is Switzerland. I'm not surprised that, Brazil is number one on that list. They have the most talented team in this tournament. I don't think there's anybody else that has a more talented team than Brazil. I think the whole world knows that Brazil has the most talent when it comes to football. Well, in North America, they know it is called soccer, but around the world, it's called football. So, my thing with Brazil, they're my team, but there's a couple things that irritates me about them. One is that we all know that they play with a bit of flair. They're very flashy. But it's exciting, and the way they play together is like poetry in motion. But at times they get a little too cute. I feel like if they play serious, like I believe they could really do some damage. I started to see that in the last World Cup. I believe that was 2018 when they went up against Belgium. They ended up losing that game 2-1. But when they were trailing, I noticed that they started to play serious, and they started to play a little more desperate. And I felt like that was the Brazil team that we wanted to see. If they could just do that throughout the game, this team would be hard to beat. I mean, this team is stacked from the top to the bottom. There's a few players I believe is going to be their last World Cup. I know Neymar did say that this is possibly his last one. Um, Thiago Silva said this is going to be his last one. Um, I mean, they have all the tools to win it all. I believe they're going to win it if they could just stay focused and play serious. I don't see any other country beating them. And then my second one is definitely Neymar and his flopping. Neymar needs to stop with his flopping. Like every time, like they barely touch this guy. He's on the ground holding his ankle, and he's acting like he's crying. And then 2 seconds later, he gets up like nothing happened to him. I mean, come on, Neymar. Like you're one of the talented players in this tournament. Like you can't afford to be doing this. And there's a lot of pressure on Brazil. Brazil has a lot of pressure to win this World Cup, and I believe they can. Um, Canada, I'm always gonna root for them. It's my country, but obviously I don't believe they're gonna win the World Cup. That's just not gonna happen. There's too many powerhouse teams that they would have to go through. Um, I mean, I could just like go through their group. They have Belgium, they got Croatia, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, who's the last one in that group? Um, and Morocco. So realistically, their first game is on Wednesday, and I believe they could beat Morocco. It'll be like a dog fight against Croatia. I can't say for sure that they'll win that one because Croatia is one of those teams that's like a pretty big powerhouse team. And then Belgium, they ain't beating Belgium. And Belgium's the first game. They're not beating Belgium. So you can forget that. Like unless some kind of miracle happens. I just don't see that happening. But I didn't mention their group. In their group, they are Group F. Now, I'll go through A all the way down. So Group A, you have Qatar, you have Ecuador, you have Senegal, and you have Netherlands. I believe Netherlands should come out of that group. Um, I mean, unless they have a meltdown, but they should be able to come out of the group. And Senegal, I believe, should be like right behind them. But who knows? Anything could happen. But that's just my pick on that in that group, who I believe is going to come out of the group. So Group B now, you have England, you have Iran, you have United States, and Wales. I mean, England should come out of that group. I think a close, maybe the second is probably United States. Iran, I mean, they can make a bit of noise. I don't know, like they could basically play spoiler to either like the Americans or maybe Wales, but I don't know. I see England coming out of that group. Then you got Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Um, yes, Argentina should come out of that group. I mean, I believe this is Lionel Messi's last World Cup, and it's gonna be an emotional one for him, and I believe he will be coming out, breathing fire, and he really wants that. They will come out of that group for sure. Um, and I believe Mexico would be like the second. Like Mexico is a pretty decent team. Um, Saudi Arabia and Poland, I believe, is going to be out. Then you got Group D. You have France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Um, France obviously is like one of the favorites. I think they're ranked fourth. So they should come out of that group. Um, it could be a toss up between Australia and Denmark. Who knows? Like to finish in second. Who knows? But Tunisia, I don't see them going anywhere. But hey, I could be wrong. I just don't see that happening. That's just my pick in that group. Group E, you have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Um, I know Germany is gonna be coming out with vengeance because I mean the last World Cup in 2018. I mean they didn't even make it out of their group. It was pretty embarrassing, and I know they're gonna be coming out and they're gonna be a little bit more hungry. I don't see them being eliminated in their group. I really believe they might get out of it, but hey. And then my second, probably Spain. Spain should be, I don't know. It could be a toss up between Spain and Germany. That's just my opinion on it. One or two between those two. Costa Rica maybe might finish third, and Japan will finish last. That's just my feel on that. Then I already mentioned Group F, which is Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. I believe Belgium would get out of that round, of that group for sure. I mean, they're second rank heading into the World Cup. Um, the Red Devils, as they call them, I believe they'll get out of that for sure. And then the second would be Croatia. I believe Canada falls just short. I don't see them getting out of that group. It's going to be hard, like to go up against those two teams. Like I could see them beating Morocco, but the rest of the teams, I don't see it happening. Then you got Group G. You have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Obviously, I believe Brazil should, get out of that group, no problem. I mean, I'm not trying to underestimate any other teams, but just with their firepower, like what they have to their disposal. I mean, I don't see how they cannot get out of that group. I mean, Serbia is not going to beat them. They're not much of a threat to them. Switzerland is they might be the biggest threat if you had to pick one in that group. I would believe it's Switzerland. And Cameroon, I mean, no chance. Then you have Group H, which is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korean Republic. Um, mm, I'm rooting for Ghana. I'm really rooting for Ghana. I really want them to get out of their group, but it's going to be hard. Um, I mean, you got Portugal, and then when you have Cristiano Ronaldo on your team, I mean, you always have a chance. I mean, that guy's a scoring machine. So I believe Portugal and Uruguay might be battling it out to get out of that group. Uruguay is another powerhouse team. Um, like I said, I'm rooting for Ghana to get out of that group, but it's gonna be hard. I hopefully, but I just don't see that happening. But that's just my prediction on the groups and who I feel that's gonna come out of that group. But ultimately, I believe Brazil will win the whole thing. Um, it's been long overdue. The last time they won the World Cup was in 2002. That's when they had Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká. I mean, they were stacked, and it's long overdue, man. They gotta win this. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them, man. I think they have the most pressure in this tournament, no question. So I believe that Brazil will win the whole thing. I mean, I can't wait. I'm gonna put my flag up. I'm gonna put up my Canadian flag, the Brazilian flag, and then I'm gonna wrap them. And yeah, but usually, um, because there's some people that are surprised that the World Cup started in November, but the reason why it started in November because Qatar is a very hot country, and if they were to start that at, usually when it's like the end of June to like the mid July, there's no way these guys would have survived. It's way too hot on that time, so they had to do it in November, and it was a smart move. You don't want these guys, you dying with a heat stroke or whatever the case may be. It would be unfortunate. So FIFA did a good job on that to have it for November, and whew, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Like, I'm a huge fan of this. Like, it's always exciting. You see a lot of surprises. There could be some upsets. You never know. Like, you never know what you have in store for the World Cup. Anything could happen. A team, who knows? Like, these teams that I'm predicting that might come out of the group, who knows? They could be like an underdog in the group that surprises the favorites. Anything could happen. So that's just my prediction with the groups. And then ultimately, I believe Brazil will win the whole thing. But I mean, I don't know. Whatever you guys believe, or whatever country you believe that's going to win this year, I mean, you could, post your comment below. But yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I can't wait for this. This is going to be exciting. I feel like a kid, like, watching World Cup. Like, I really get into this game. But the only problem is these games are always so early. Like, some of these games start for like 2 a.m. What is it, like? Was it like 9 or 8 or 7 a.m.? Like, these times are crazy. But I'll be tuned in some way somehow. Whether I listen to it through the radio or I check my phone for the score, and I'm gonna be in tune with it. But that's just my predictions. Um, I'm glad that everyone tuned into the video. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Till next time, peace.